Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Masters of Science in Special Education, Mild to Moderate Disabilities. My name is Eliel Acosta. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions here at Johns Hopkins School of Education. And for the most part, I will be your point of contact when it comes to the mild to moderate disabilities. So again, welcome and thank you for joining this session here today. Um, Before we get started, I just wanted to go over a quick overview of our agenda. So as you kind of see here, we'll talk a little bit about the School of Education, Johns Hopkins overview, mission, and vision. And then at that point, Dr. Cruz, who's here with us today, will go in and talk about program structure, career outlook, pathways to the MS via SEDIT or RISE TC programs. And then I'll come at the end and talk about the application process, the admission requirements, tuition, financial aid, and scholarship opportunities. We will have time at the very end of the webinar to field questions. So as we kind of go over the next few slides, if questions arise or you have a specific situation, feel free to use the Q&A function on Zoom, and we should have plenty of time at the end to cover most, if not all, of your questions. So yeah, welcome. We'll try to make this as engaging, as informative as we can as a webinar. But just to kind of get started here, folks, when it comes to Johns Hopkins, right, America's first research university, intellectually diverse, more than 24,000 undergraduate and graduate students are enrolled in our 9 schools, driven by our curiosity, and we're also globally focused. Now, the School of Education, right, specifically, we're one, right, of the 9 units here at Hopkins. So on this slide here, you'll see the list of the 9 different schools: the Applied Physics Laboratory, Bloomberg School of Public Health, Carey Business, Krieger School of Sciences, Peabody Institute, School of Medicine, School of Nursing, right, on and on. But you'll see the School of Education. And within the School of Education is where you all are going to find the specific special education programs at the master level, like mild to moderate disabilities, and also such as severe disabilities, ABA, and also the postmaster certificate. So again, we're part of that one unit from the entire university here at Hopkins. Now, when it comes to the School of Education, within our unit, we have about 1,000 students across all of our programs. 109 full-time faculty. We award 500 degrees annually, top 20 in terms of the US News and Ranking report, and we have a growing alumni network of 25,000, and we represent across all programs 47 countries. So you'll see the breakdown there of our student body: 75% female, 25% male, and then 24% international students. And we'll talk a little bit about what the student body looks like for the special education master's program in mild to moderate disabilities. But to kind of keep us moving forward here, I'm going to go ahead and give the space to Dr. Cruz, which she'll introduce herself, and also the other faculty who are not here with us, but that you'll see throughout the program, whether you're looking at ABA or mild to moderate disabilities.
Hi, everyone. It's really great to be talking with you. Yeah, I'm Rebecca Cruz. I'm an assistant professor here at Johns Hopkins. I work here in our special education teacher certification programs. I work a little bit with our Teaching Well program, which is a STEM secondary credential program. And I also work with our Masters of Ed Policy and PhD students. So I work in a lot of different programs. But for this program specifically, I can talk a little bit about our MMD pathway. We also have on our faculty Dr. Alex Shelton, and she leads the SEDIT program. And we'll get to that in a few slides down and what that program offers. And then we have Dr. Tammy Martyr, who is our program director. She also leads our ABA program and our Masters in Severe in Autism program. So I can talk a little bit about those if that is of interest. So one of the reasons that one of the things that we really invest in a lot in our program is thinking about the critical shortage of special education teachers. This is a nationwide phenomenon, but it's also happening here in the state of Maryland. And so our aim is to build the field with highly qualified, well-trained professionals who can go into the field and get a lot of support from our alumni network, from our current faculty. to be able to persist in the field and deliver high quality services to the students with the most amount of need a lot of times. And so we have some facts here about what you can expect in that career. Median salaries between 56 to 57 to 65,000. Um, there's a high demand here in the Mid-Atlantic, and so it's a career pathway with a lot of job security, and with the way that we have developed our program, a lot of supports for you to persist in the field. So, just putting this information out there. And what we offer sort of in our certification track, we have two different certification options. If you joined our program, you could select into our elementary middle pathway or our secondary adult pathway. All of both of those options, you would do two supervised internships in real classroom settings. So a lot of our students come in already with some kind of teaching placement, whether they're on an emergency credential in a classroom or they're a paraprofessional supporting a classroom. It is possible to do those internships in that setting as long as they align with the grade level track that you picked. So if you're supporting a secondary classroom, but you want an elementary, middle certification, for instance, then we'd have to find you a different placement for your internship. For those who are not already in a classroom, if you're doing our program, we do offer a lot of support in finding these internships and supporting you through that process. Um, it is a Maryland State Department of Education approved program. So upon completion of the program, you have your teacher licensure for the state of Maryland. We do have people that join our program who just want the master's degree and not the certification. Either they're aiming to do education research or leadership, and they're not really planning on being in a classroom, or they already have certification and they're just looking to get their master's. And so I'll talk a little bit here in a couple of slides about the difference. It built to be a 2-year program with a summer term. So it's summer, fall, spring, summer, fall, spring. There are people who complete it quicker than that. We have some really ambitious students who really want to get everything done in a year. That's possible. It's difficult. I don't recommend it, but it can be done. And then we have, folks who, for whatever reason, want to kind of slow it down and take a little bit longer. And so some people have taken up to 5 years to complete the program. They just take a couple of courses at a time, but it is designed as this cohort sequential 2-year program. And then you can expect to take a couple of different specialized courses in the program, math curriculum, reading methods, behavior management and transition. And I think I'll talk a little bit about some of those more specific things here in a minute. For example, we have a slide that shows the sample set of courses you would take if you are on the special education certification pathway. So like, for instance, you might take characteristics of students with disabilities. That just gives you a background of different kind of content and specialized instruction supports for different disability characteristics. Our legal aspects course is taken over the summer. All of the courses with an asterisk are fully online in an asynchronous format. Um, and those that don't have the asterisk are online, but they are in a synchronous format. So you'd be interfacing with the instructor every week. And yeah, this is sort of a sample of the coursework that you would take that would sort of lead you up to and be fully prepared to step into a classroom. So, another course that you might end up taking is our career assessment and programming course. And that just helps you think about, especially for those who are on the secondary pathway, you're working with students who are sort of graduating and matriculating post high school, how you might build their supports and services to get them into the career or college pathway that they would want to do. So, keep going. Like I mentioned, our coursework happens summer, fall, and spring. Our summer courses are all asynchronous format. You might still have a lot of opportunities to meet with your classmates and with your instructor, but there's no required interface during that time because a lot of our students are working professionals who want to go on vacation and not necessarily block out time to um, have classes, but our fall and spring courses are sort of an even mixture of asynchronous and synchronous. But they're all online as of this coming spring. They're in an all online format. The synchronous coursework happens in during the evenings because, like I mentioned, we have a lot of working professionals who access our program. So it's really designed for folks who want to have to work throughout the day and then they want to do their coursework in the evenings. Um, and like I said, yeah, it's a 2-year program. So there's a little bit of flexibility there. And if you have questions about the timeline, I'm happy to talk more about that. There are a few milestones that you could anticipate in our program on the pathway to graduating with your master's degree. All of the coursework obviously has to be completed within that time. There's also a praxis exam, which is sort of like a content check to make sure you have the right content background from the coursework. And then there is a comprehensive exam, which is an internal content check. And then we've got a culminating project, which is part of your internship for all of those who are seeking certification. And then for those who are in our program that are not seeking certification, we have a graduate project. So folks who are not seeking certification actually only have to do one internship semester. And then the other semester, they're doing this graduate project, which is more like a master's thesis project. If you are on the certification track, you do have the option to do the graduate project if you want to. We do have some folks that opt into that because they want to be in the classroom teaching, but they're also planning eventually for a career in research or leadership. So they want to go on and do an EDD or a PhD or something like that. And the graduate project gives you that sort of writing sample capstone research experience. But all of these other milestones are required for everybody. And then we've got a really special connection with the Montgomery County Public Schools, which is called the SETIT program, the Special Education Teacher Immersion Training Program. And it's a 2-year program, so it follows the same sort of scope and sequence of any of our admits. But this is a cohort for all SETIT candidates to take their coursework together. And it's a really exciting opportunity because it's a job embedded internship. So wherever you're working as an MCPS employee, you would get your same salary and benefits, and they offer partial tuition reimbursement through that program. And you can stay in your classroom to do the internships and any of your sort of coursework that you would need to do. So Dr. Shelton is our lead for that program, and then Brittany Ramey is our lead at MCPS. I'm happy to answer any questions, but also you can reach out to Dr. Shelton anytime you want to for more information. Happy to talk more about that. So who are we really looking for as a fit for this program? It's really a program that's meant for someone who already has a bachelor's degree, is seeking a master's degree, and most of our students are also looking for their initial special education certification. Though, as I mentioned, that's not necessarily always the case. We do have a lot of people who just want the master's degree. But that you're planning to serve students with disabilities in some capacity. So whether you want to be a classroom teacher, you want to go on and do your board certified behavior analyst certification, but you have to be able to commit to 2 years of pretty intensive coursework in order to meet all of their requirements to be able to make it through the program. So I want to emphasize here, it is a Johns Hopkins level master's degree. It's graduate school, so it's pretty intense coursework. And I
That's
think
me.
that
Yeah. I'll take it from here. So, no, thank you, Dr. Cruz. So, just to kind of touch back here, folks, I'm going to talk a little bit about the admissions application requirements. The deadline for this program for the Masters in Special Education, Mild to Moderate Disabilities, is going to be July 15th. Now that may seem like you have plenty of time, and it does seem like we still have to get to spring and then finally summer. But I would always encourage folks to start your application as soon as possible, as soon as you feel confident and comfortable in moving forward. I think a sweet spot for me, right, in terms of admissions, just general timeline would be applying between now and middle of end of March. The reason why we do have that July 15th deadline, right, is because a lot of our current student population that is coming into this program are educators and teachers. So we give that grace period of July 15th to allow folks who are teaching to have some time to apply to the program. So moving on from the timeline, what you see on this screen here are the admission application requirements. The qualifying degree is a bachelor's degree, right, to apply to a program like this. We want to see a minimum cumulative GPA of a 3.0 from a 4.0 scale from any or all previous higher education degree coursework. You are going to have to complete the online application that you can find directly through our website. There is an $80 application fee in order to submit. And then we will request, or we will need you to request, the official transcripts from all post-secondary institutions that you've attended, whether that's completed courses or attempted courses, right? So if you went to a community college before you went into a four-year institution, we will need the community college transcripts. So just get that process early and get those sent over to us. There is also on the online application an essay/personal statement. You are going to want to read over that personal statement, take your time with it, visit this webinar, look at our website, and just do your best, right, in terms of answering that personal statement within the word count that we give you. And also on the online application, we will ask you to upload your resume or CV. Again, you want to make sure that you're tailoring it for this graduate level application, and then 2 letters of recommendation. So the 2 letters of recommendation, we would encourage you all to think about individuals who you may have a professional relationship with, right? A supervisor, a colleague, or an academic-based relationship. So if you are still in contact with faculty, professors from your undergraduate career, right? Or if it's been recent, right? That is perfectly fine to go on and request a recommendation from an academic perspective, right? Faculty, professor. Now, one of the questions I think I often get with this type of program, right? Hey, it's been, I don't know, a decade, 10 years since I completed my bachelor's degree. Is it okay if I just focus on professional-based recommendations? And in those scenarios, I would say yes. We understand that time passes and you don't always, it's very hard to keep a strong relationship with a former faculty member. So if you feel like your 2 best recommenders are going to be that professional relationship, right, then I would go ahead and move forward with those. What I would stay away from, right, are friends, family members, acquaintances that you haven't had any type of professional relationship at any capacity, right? You want to have that kind of formal relationship with your 2 recommenders. There is potentially an interview at the very end. And then there's no GRE required for this program. And we don't take a GRE either. So sometimes I'll get emails, hey, I took the GRE. Can I go ahead and send it in to make myself more competitive? The answer is going to be no. We just won't take it. It's a pretty straightforward application, online app, resume, right? Essay, 2 letters of recommendation, and your transcripts. Again, if you have questions about these pieces, definitely feel free to ask the questions here, or if you want to make an individual appointment later down the road, I'm more than happy to connect with you. Now, when it comes to tuition and fees for the 25 to 26 academic year, you'll see our face-to-face programs are at 1,140 per credit, right? So for a 3-credit course, you're looking at $3,420. Now, keep in mind that if a degree, of course, is online, you will want to account an additional $20 per credit tech fee. So that's that second line that you see on this table. So a more accurate representation of what you should expect, right, for one course worth 3 credits is around $3,480. There is also a $175 registration fee per semester that's required as you go in, and getting ready to register for your next term courses. Their application fee, which I mentioned, $80. So this should give you a rough idea of what you would be looking at. And then moving from there, when it comes to funding your degree here at the School of Education, we would encourage you to look at various buckets of funding, right? So there's federal, right? So if you're eligible for FAFSA, you are going to want to go ahead and get that completed. That could, open you up to potential loans, federal work study grants. state level grants and scholarships, college university scholarships. So you are eligible to apply for what we call the School of Education Endowed Scholarships, which is a pool of money that we have for all master level programs. It's on our website. The deadline for that scholarship in specific is April 1st. So that's why I'm saying encouraging you all, if you are thinking about applying to this program between now and mid of March or middle of March, is a good time frame to submit a complete application and then work on that SOE endowed scholarship form. Employer tuition reimbursement. Again, would encourage you to talk with your employer, HR, right? Really just investigate to see if there is any possibility of tuition support on that end. And then there's also private loans and external scholarships. Now, this next slide is pretty much what I just discussed. Please forget it comes after this. You'll see the SOE endowed scholarship, which I talked about earlier. There are external scholarship resources such as scholarship, I think it's .org and teacher.org that you want to look at, and then completing the FAFSA. Now, as I kind of mentioned before, I think with this type of program, right, we're accustomed to seeing applicants who are a bit separated from their undergrad career. So if you do need guidance or just need a refresher on how to approach and how to complete the FAFSA, definitely use us as a resource. We have a financial aid office here at the School of Education. Jennifer Fordham, our financial aid specialist, and then Nettie Metz, our director of financial aid. They're more than happy to connect with you one-on-one for personalized guidance, right? Kind of maximizing your financial aid buckets, understanding loan options, planning, right, for the fall of 2026, navigating FAFSA, right? We know that that has seen a few iterations and changes throughout the years. And they do virtual or phone appointments. So I'll put here at the end Jenny's calendar appointments. I know she does typically Mondays and Fridays throughout the week. Go ahead and make an appointment with her as you're applying so you can start planning out what the financial side looks like for this specific program. And, if everything goes right, hopefully at the end here, as we go into spring, early summer, you get an offer of admission and you also have an understanding of the financial side and you're ready to kind of make that decision on whether or not you want to accept your offer here at the School of Ed. So again, that's Jenny Fordham and Nettie Metz. The other piece that we do have in terms of support services that you'll find, and this is open to both in-person and online students, is our Career Service Office, Integrating Learning and Life Design, Center for English Language Education. You have access to the library services here at Hopkins, Mentoring Hopkins Connect, Office of International Services, orientation, new student onboarding, which is a part of every program. Student accounts and enrollment management, you'll see SEAM, student affairs, student disability services. There's also a student emergency fund, the writing center, and tutoring. So apart from your coursework, right, you're going to have these offices to support you as a student, to making sure that you are a successful student during your time here at the School of Ed. So with that being said, I believe that concludes the slides that we have.